Mark's like, I don't even know what this video is. And I'm like, I said, it's the video and kicking him out of my house. I said, Jesus, I got a restraining order. Just leave me there. Just stay away, buddy.
Yeah, I see him out walking around once in a while. When I'm out walking.
Jesus.
I always assumed he was in witness protection from the Russian mafia or something.
Well, I did travel overseas with him, and we were safe when we were over there. I will admit, he was very paranoid. But I will say he is definitely way too versed for a man to be living here and not doing anything.
Exactly.
I mean, the man speaks 7, 8 languages. That ain't right.
Well, if you're in the intelligence community, it's helpful.
He's quite good at firing a weapon, too, that's for sure. Where's the mayor?
He went wee all the way home. Automatic entry.
Pause for effect.
It is now on.
All right, so they're all on. All right, we're good. Why was that one making so much noise earlier?
It just, I don't know. I just.
Don't move it.
I'm not.
Don't move
I
it.
adjusted it so that it would.
That one's terrible, by the way.
Call to order council meeting for December 13th. If everyone would stand for the pledge. Remain standing for prayer.
Dear Lord, bless the decisions of this body, and guide us tonight and the future as well. Amen.
Amen.
Can we have a roll call?
Mr. Gornell,
Present.
Mr. Lau,
Here.
Mr. McNeese,
Here.
Mr. Grove,
Here.
Mr. Ravalette,
Here.
Mr. Stengel,
Here.
Mr. Salters,
Here.
Mayor Yocum.
Here. Adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to adopt the agenda as presented.
Question?
Mr. Ravalette,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. Gornell,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Stengel,
Yes.
Mr. Salters.
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, the agenda is adopted. Need approval of the minutes for November 22nd.
Make a motion to approve the November 26th meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to approve the minutes as presented.
Question?
Mr. Stengel,
Yes.
Mr. Ravalette,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Gornell,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
Mr. Grove.
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, they are approved. Petitions, memorials, remonstrances. None. Committee chair reports. Report of city officers. Old business. First up is business updates.
All right, this will be short and sweet. Our businesses are having really good sales numbers right now, and that's to be expected during the holiday season. So let's keep that up, keep shopping local. And there's a good promotional campaign by our local chamber to keep the cheer here. If you take your receipt there, they enter you into a contest, obviously, if you buy from a local store. So that's really encouraged some things as well. So if you buy local, take that receipt down to the chamber, and they'll put you in for a drawing. But business is doing fantastic here in good old Vincennes.
Okay, next is county metric update.
All right, since the last time we met, we did bump up a little bit. We're in the orange category right now. The key number to keep an eye on that I know that we focused on before, as long as our positivity stays under 15, we're going to stay in orange. We were at 10.45% last week, and it's kind of hovered around that same percentage. So it doesn't take much to bump us now from orange to yellow. So we're probably going to see that kind of back and forth. As long as everything stays underneath 15, we're going to be in that red category, which is good for everybody. So that's where we're at when it looks at our positivity and our COVID county metric numbers.
Okay. Moving to new business, first up is Resolution 7, 2021, a resolution authorizing application submission and local match commitment.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 7, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove, to read and approve Resolution 7, 2021.
Resolution 7, 2021, resolution authorizing application, submission, and local match commitment containing sections 1 and 2.
Discussion. This is, I know we just did a grant for the senior center. This is their next grant they are applying for, which will be the applicant again. We don't pay any of this match, they do, and it's to add an addition to their building, I
Right.
believe.
Question.
Mr. Gornow,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette,
Yes.
Mr. Stanger,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, Resolution 7, 2021 passes. Next is Resolution 8, 2021, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, establishing procedures on grant funding awards.
Make a motion to read and approve Resolution 8, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove, to read and approve Resolution 8, 2021.
Resolution number 8, 2021, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, establishing procedures on grant funding awards containing sections 1 through 7, section 1 and 2 with 7 subparts.
Discussion. And again, this is part of that.
Mhm.
The same as we did for the last grant, we had to do all these resolutions.
Yeah, to get everything set up.
Question.
Mr. Stengel,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Gornow,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese.
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, Resolution 8, 2021 passes. Next is Ordinance 21, 2021, an ordinance of the Vincennes Common Council appealing Ordinance 12, 2018 regarding the operation of food truck vending vehicles.
I'm going to kick this to the Events Programming and Planning Committee after hearing from Councilman Grove, and he's been talking with our local food truck vendors that, have spent time here in Vincennes. There are some concerns, obviously, with fees, and then I think insurance. We had some issues there. Instead of voting it through on first reading here and then fixing it, that gets a little messy. We'll meet, we'll get a better ordinance, then we'll bring it back so that it's a lot cleaner and it suits us better. And I think that's probably the best route to go.
Suits not only us, but the food.
The food, the
food
people that
vendors
we
as
want to
well.
be here.
In our
Absolutely.
events locally too.
So
Okay.
that'll go to that.
And I would encourage us at those, at that committee, if we could make sure we reach out to the chamber, whoever else is doing these events where they have food trucks at them, even maybe do the firemen still do 4th of July?
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe even,
They do.
maybe even
And
ask,
it really affects every event that we have
Huh.
in the city, so.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, food trucks have become a huge part of a lot of the events that we do, so.
So, we should
Okay.
involve the people that are, both working it and hosting those events.
So that'll just be moved to committee.
Yeah, we're just gonna move that to committee, we'll fix that, and we'll get a proper ordinance set up for us.
Okay. Moving on to Ordinance 22, 2021, an ordinance of Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, appealing Ordinance 12, 2009, providing the safe and responsible operations of golf carts and establishing a revised ordinance regulating the use of golf carts within the city limits.
Make a motion to read ordinance 22, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove, to have first reading of Ordinance 22, 2021.
Ordinance 22, 2021, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, should be repealing Ordinance 12, 2009, providing the safe and responsible operation of golf carts and establishing a revised ordinance regulating the use of golf carts within the City of Vincennes. This is tweaking the Old Ordinance Sections 1 through 13.
Discussion.
Kathy, do you wanna hit some of the key parts on this that we're updating?
Let's
I mean,
see.
it's not too much, but.
Actually, it was not all that much. Sorry, I'm
That's okay.
flipping through here. I tabbed yours. I tabbed
Is that
his,
what
not
you just
mine.
That's pretty good.
Basically, we wanted to make sure the wording was in there about the 18 and older. There'd been a lot of requests to make sure that's in there. It's always been in the ordinance, so I kind of just put that more to the front, to the
Okay.
top there, of course. And then we changed the fees. It had never been changed since we enacted it, so we updated those fees on there. And then, of course, we updated, if we wanted to do special permits, sometimes people come in for the events, like the First City Music Festival. They wanted to have golf carts. Now, they weren't leaving the rendezvous grounds. I don't really see a need for them. But, if you're driving around, say, at the parade, and you want to have golf carts driving up and down, maybe specialty permits for that or something. So there was a provision for that put in there. And that basically just a method to also enforce. There was no avenue to enforce if you didn't get a permit. Because basically the permit requires that you get it inspected and that we make sure that you have some type of insurance. Usually it's a rider on your homeowners. And then we just kind of tell you then, make sure that you have lights, seat belts, those sort of things, safety placards on there. So that was all it was. Those were the things we...
And these are things that we've learned since we put this ordinance into effect originally. I know we had a lot
Correct.
of discussion putting it into, not really knowing how that would work out, and we've kind of seen some of the issues that have come about because of this ordinance. Not that we don't like the ordinance, but here's the improvements that we need to make this a better, safer ordinance moving forward.
Correct. Like, for instance, Section 1, it never had been established what a golf cart was. So a lot of times people with side-by-sides or electric vehicles, they want to license them as golf carts. They're not golf carts. If it is a golf cart, it intended to be used with golf clubs. So we did add that provision as well so that there's no more gray areas what we're considering a golf cart.
Right.
Have we always had it in there, no one under 3 allowed on there? I thought I saw that earlier, but
I saw that and I
find it.
took that out. That actually was someone else's ordinance. They put it in and they recommended it. I took that out because, no one under 3 in your golf cart. Well,
it
good
actually
luck
is-
with that.
It actually is still in here, Kathy. I think all persons in the golf cart shall remain seated at all times. The golf cart is operated. Children under the age of 3 years shall not be permitted to ride on the golf cart.
I apologize. I may have sent that out to you before I updated the physical copy. I apologize.
Can I ask a really interesting question, I think?
Please.
Car seats. I mean, we require those in cars for children under a certain age and poundage. I mean, is it different just because it's a golf cart?
Yeah, it won't help them at all.
It won't help them at all in golf cart.
Because the seat belts aren't up to,
Historically unsafe.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that we've legislated about it.
There's nothing at the state level that would require.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, that's, you started to say on seatbelts, I don't know how you would securely affix them.
It wouldn't meet the
Right.
The
criteria.
seat belts are literally bolted to fiberglass and sometimes, and they're totally pointless. They're just
What
a-
section was that under? Because I think I edited it.
Section 7.
Yeah, under Section 7 in the, I'm sorry, in the one, I did not update yours, but I did take that out. It just says, all persons in the golf cart shall remain seated at all times when it's in operation.
I'll tell you, I like having it in there. I mean, I see a lot of them going around with kids, young kids on the back of these.
Hanging off the side of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you wanted that to be added back in there, or?
I think it's for discussion.
I mean, absolutely, I will do whatever the council decides.
It's not just the ordinance though, but I wanna ask about enforcement. I mean, how hard is that to enforce? We got a former police officer here. How did you guys enforce it?
Well, if it's city ordinance, we have to write in the city ordinance ticket. I mean, have they changed anything? I mean, I've been an officer for 3 years.
Nothing's changed.
I don't,
Have they been able to get them into Superior Court to?
we can write all the
Court
ordinances we
or
want, but if
punishment
it's
or-
not enforced.
And that's one thing we did on this is it's a $50 fee now, or a $50 fine.
Fine.
Right.
It-
And we never really had a mechanism in place or what we said we would do if you didn't pay it, or if you didn't follow the rules. We just said, please do it. Now we're saying if we catch you not following the rules, we will fine you.
Which led to more people not following the rules because there wasn't really that mechanism that automatically kind of slapped you on the wrist for not doing that.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, we just never really, we had the rules that just never really was enforced, I guess. But I mean, this is certainly something that can be edited.
Okay, and can we make it
Anything.
if they do not pay the fine, then they are not issued a permit for the following year?
Absolutely.
This is a yearly
Well,
permit, right?
actually, if we go to write a ticket, we'll go after a ticket. Right now, we don't, because we don't say that we're going to do that. We don't have in the ordinance that we say we'll come after you. This one says we will.
Okay.
I'm good with
So,
that.
All right, so what was the change that you wanted, Councilman Grove?
I would like to see it as
Put
we
the-
have it with
As
the
it-
under
in-
3 years old would
Under-
not be allowed on.
in
Because
section
there's no
7,
safe way to.
correct. In section 7, add that wording back in. Okay,
Right.
I will take it out.
Do you want to go by weight, like a car seat? Well, I mean, it's the same thing with age. We don't have like a thing to read your age. You can lie about that.
And Kathy, you may have already adjusted this. On the end of the first sentence in section 4, says the city of Vincennes must be glistered. I believe it should be registered.
Yes, I did change that to registered in my version.
Down there, copy it.
I knew
Thank
that
you,
you'd
sir.
catch that, Dan. I put that in there for you.
Thank you, I got it.
Does anyone have anything else to add to this? Mark, you got anything else? No?
One thing I can think of is there's some pretty crafty people out there. They could take these golf carts and modify them to look like about anything they want. I didn't see anything in there about, not modifying these golf carts away from being a golf cart, you know?
Yeah,
Like I
I've
seen
seen
one that looked like an old
Mustang or a Chevy.
vintage truck, you know? People could ride in the bed of that truck, you know?
Well, and I guess
They could
if the
different
police
wheels on
department approves it as a golf cart,
Right.
then I'll accept the fee and give you I'll give you a sticker for it.
Sure.
These have to be,
Because-
That's who's inspecting it.
Yes,
who
because I would
inspects
say
it.
if they
Yeah.
inspect it and it meets the criteria for them, that they're inspecting safety-wise, I think it would be okay. I mean,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the definition that we have in there is pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
You know,
I get what you're
start
saying, like
adding,
you've got creative
wheels
people out there,
and
yeah.
things. They do, they modify it.
Okay, so are we voting for as amended or?
As is in our packet is what we would like.
Well, if you
Like,
would,
I mean,
I think,
we can, that's what we want. We could vote this through and you can bring the changes to us for second and third.
Correct.
Is that
So I-
correct?
Right.
so I guess I
This is
just,
the
I
one
just want to be clear what changes you want me to make. If you want it to be as you've seen it as your packet, then that's fine.
Is that what,
I'm good with that.
everybody good with that?
Because the only wording I
Right.
believe that's
Yeah.
different is the minor wording in section 7 about the
Right.
under 3. Okay.
Okay. I am good with that if everybody's good with that.
Yep.
All right,
Call for the question then.
okay.
Mr. Stengel,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. Gornell,
Yes.
Mr. Grove.
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, first reading of ordinance 22, 2021 passes. And you're going to do the next two next meeting.
Yeah, we'll do the next two next meeting.
Next up is ordinance 23, 2021, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, amending section 4 entitled Employee Benefits of Chapter 31 entitled City Officials and Employees of Title 3 entitled Administration of the Municipal Code of the Vincennes, Indiana.
Make a motion to read and approve ordinance 23, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to read ordinance 23, 2021.
Ordinance 23, 2021, containing sections 1 through 3. This is codifying the new employee benefits and rules for employees, sick leave,
Discuss-
vacations and such.
Discussion.
And we talked about this a little bit last time, but this is gonna get our ordinances in line.
Basically, I've asked that the vacation be increased.
Right.
To the
Correct.
old schedule that was in place years before. It also makes some adjustments to, it gives actual dates that you earn your personal day as well as sick days. It makes things a lot easier. And then, once you do this, the Board of Works will pass the
And that should clear up
employee handbook,
a
which
lot of
Correct.
will-
confusion.
Yes.
It makes it more uniform across the board for
Yes.
how
Everybody.
everybody's supposed to
Yes.
do things.
When it comes to bereavement or whatever,
They've got different ones. and-
employee handbook says one thing.
Yep.
The ordinance says the other. We have to follow the ordinance. So we want the ordinance to match the handbook.
And this isn't, nobody's grandfathered or anything,
No.
The whole
Yeah.
department is on the same.
Everybody will be on the same vacation schedule. And actually, a lot of employees get.
I'm asking in the same thing, do we have a special section for COVID right now, and when people, if they should contract it, are gone for how many days, how are we handling that currently? Is it a sick time, paid time off, what is that?
We follow what the state guidelines give us right now, and there is time off for that. You're allowed up to 120 hours?
Not initially we were. Now it follows our second
Mhm.
FM or
Okay.
FLSA or FLMLA.
And
Policies,
going
so-
forward, that's how we're gonna handle it
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
that's what's happened with the schools and stuff.
Sure.
Everybody else,
Everybody got any questions with this?
question?
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion for second reading for ordinance 23-2021.
I'll second.
Okay, first reading passes by a vote of 7-0. Got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to have second reading of ordinance 23-2021.
Ordinance 23-2021, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, amending Section 4 entitled Employee Benefits of Chapter 31 entitled City Officials and Employees, of Title 3 entitled Administration of the Municipal Code of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, Sections 1 through 3.
Discussion.
Question?
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
And second reading of ordinance 23-2021 passes by a vote of 7-0.
I'm gonna make a motion to suspend the rules to have third and final reading on ordinance 23-2021.
I'll second.
Got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to suspend the rules to have third reading this evening.
Got to vote on the rule suspension and then.
I know, and then we gotta do it again,
Right.
because you always know that I try to put those two together and then I never get it done.
Okay, we're going to vote on that.
Yeah, we're voting
Okay.
to suspend the rules, that's what we're doing
Correct.
right now.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, the rules will be suspended for third reading.
Now I will make a motion for third and final reading of ordinance 23-2021.
Second.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to have third and final reading of ordinance 23-2021.
Ordinance number 23-2021, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, amending Section 4 entitled Employee Benefits of Chapter 31, entitled City Officials and Employees, of Title 3 entitled Administration of the Municipal Code of the City of Vincennes, Indiana, Sections 1 through 3.
Discussion.
Question?
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, third and final reading of ordinance 23-2021 passes. Next is Police Department transfer request. Chief Hillen.
Chief, that's you.
He's on his way.
Council members, Mr. Mayor, so I would like to go ahead and, the police department's done a very good job this year of overseeing the overtime. And we have some extra money there that I would like to transfer from the overtime line item to the general supplies to the tune of $30,000. And the reason that I want to do that is I would like to purchase some more tasers for the police department so that every officer has their own taser. So when they come on the job, when they leave their house, they have everything that they need in order to do the job safely. Because of a lot of our officers, while they get in their vehicles and they're traveling to the police department, they will answer calls first thing. And they don't always have all of their necessary tools with them. An example is the taser. And so I want enough tasers for every officer to have their own, just like we have a firearm. Tasers are very expensive, to the tune of a little over $1,700 per taser. And to get us up to each officer having their own, there is that need for that $30,000. With that, time is a little bit of the essence, because Axon, the company, notified everyone that January 1st they're going to do a 5 to 10% increase on all of that less lethal that they provide, and taser is one of those. So I would like to get that ordered and taken care of before the first of the year to save the department money and to make our officers more safe.
Chief, thank you for bringing this to our attention and obviously being studious with your overtime, and you've got that money available to you. But do know that when it comes to these things, if you need that, come to us and ask, and we will find what you need for this, especially specifically for something as important as having tasers for our officers.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, when I first started in the department, we didn't have radios for everything. So,
John, you guys didn't have a lot of things back then. I know.
we've come a
So
long
how many
way.
doves did they have to purchase?
Barney Rubble car.
But it is very important for all these officers to have their own taser. It really is, because going to work, I've helped other officers, backed up other officers, answered calls before I even got to work.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Yeah, and with the COVID situation, you know, we were trying to keep our officers off station so that they weren't congregating, and they would have to pass off these devices. So we were automatically having to meet on station, and then you're having a chance to,
Less lethal too.
yeah.
This makes sense.
And unfortunately, less lethal doesn't mean less expensive. So
In the long run, it is way less expensive.
absolutely, and I think Mr. Rolligan would agree with that. So yes.
In the long run, it's very less.
All right, does anyone have any other questions? All right, I make a motion to approve the police department transfer of the $30,000.
Second that.
Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to approve the police department transfer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah,
Question?
we got
Mr. Gornell,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
Mr. Stangle.
Yes.
And that is approved by a vote of 7-0. Next is claims.
That's a big one. Make a motion to pay claims in the amount of $1,364,973.91.
And I'll second.
Claims are high because of paving and a bond payment for the fire department, is that right?
Correct, and it's end of the year also.
Yeah, so it's
Jam it all in there.
we're getting it all through.
Yes.
Okay, got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to pay the claims in the amount of $1,364,973.91. Any questions on claims?
You have any of those?
Ready?
Okay.
Question?
Good, okay. Mr. Ravelette,
Yes.
Mr. Gornell,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
I'll be abstaining from the 434 diamond tinning claim, but other than that, I'm a yes.
thank you. Mr. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. McNeese,
Yes.
Mr. Salters,
Yes.
Mr. Stangle.
Yes.
And claims are paid by a vote of 7-0 with Councilman Vice President Groves abstaining from the one claim. Move to miscellaneous. Being none, we'll move on to public comment. Again, this is public comment if anybody's.
Did we just skip miscellaneous?
No, we just,
Just said
he just said miscellaneous.
You did?
Yeah.
I do have something real quick. Sorry, I had a resident That was pretty quick. It was like as fast as you read the $1 million claim. This is really quick. I had a resident of 1804 Starking Road contact me, and I would just like maybe our engineer or street department maybe to go check it out there. I went and drove out there. They have it's off of Spruce in a subdivision, and I'm not 100% sure that road, this little piece of it, is city property. So, but they're having that road's in really bad shape. I'll just say it's in bad shape, and it services about 3 houses. There's a manhole that's about 4 inches out of pavement in there too. And they contacted me, and I said I'd be glad to bring it up at city council, so that's what I'm doing. I think the first thing to figure out is if it is actually a city road or just maybe an access road that was a private road that was off of Starking Road. So
Are they in city limits?
they're in city limits. Yeah, it's Spruce Road and Starking. It's all out there off of Turley, right off.
Yeah,
I'll have JP.
Off 61.
Have
Yeah,
JP
yeah,
look at
61.
that. Okay, nothing else under miscellaneous. Public comment, we'll go to for the good of the order.
All right, for good of the order, Councilman Grove, District 1.
Mine's the Christmas parade. I thoroughly enjoyed Saturday night. I was glad everybody rescheduled from Friday. It was a little scary there for a while. So I appreciate everybody coming out and having a great time at the Christmas parade. I'd also like to thank the fire department for decorating the tree at the end of Main Street. It looks great. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. District 2.
Yes, piggyback on lights and the display in the park. It was great to see droves of people going through Friday and Saturday night, and it was really good. Heard a lot of positive comments on that. I do question Santa Claus though, whoever you got, because I went through and I said, Santa, I've been on the night. He said, no, you're on the naughty list, sir. So I don't know where he got his information, but definitely have to look into Santa Claus for next year. On a more positive note, VU had their first in-person live commencement December 11th. They were all glad to do that. Had that at the Red, and the Burger King's coming along on 6th Street, and Pilot's changing. I talked about this a couple meetings ago, but they're doing that facelift now of going from a Hux to a Pilot on 6th Street and starting the remodeling of that location. That's all I have.
District 3.
Our new business in District 3, the pet store, the Wabash River Reptiles and Aquatics, I believe that's the name of it. It's open now. Of course, it's closed today. It's closed on Sundays and Mondays. We were needing a new pet store in this town, so it's good to see him here. Also, I've been in touch with Mr. Wilson of the Vincent City Cemetery. We are trying to get a flag in the veterans section of the cemetery. When I helped set that up back several years ago, I never thought about having a flag there because there's always one in front as you enter into the cemetery, but it was brought to our attention that the veterans section really needed a flag. There is a monument there, but he said we need a flag. So we're working with the cemetery board and Mr. Wilson, and there'll be another meeting next month to discuss some problems that we have on the location of this flag. All the board members are in favor of getting this flag set up. So we are working on that, and I'll keep everybody informed in the progress of this new flag in the veterans section. I can't speak today. But this is where veterans can get free burial plots as long as they're honorably discharged from the military. So that's all I have right now.
All right, District 4.
Okay, I've invited Pastor Mike Flynn from the First Baptist Church on Highway 41 in District 4 to attend the meeting this evening because, first of all, he's new to the area, and secondly, I believe they have a very special campaign going on. It's called Experience Generosity and designed to help every entire community member in Vincennes. At least 200 gift cards, each worth $25, are being given out at random to the working people of Vincennes just to say thanks. They're being personally handed out to fast food workers, servers, grocery store clerks, delivery drivers, retail employees, and others who are working at our local businesses. Anyone who's actively working may be given a thank you note with one of these $25 gift cards inside that tells them that their work is really appreciated. These gift cards are only redeemable at our local businesses as a special way to express generosity. That's at least $5,000 back into our local economy. Pastor Flynn, I think that's a great program. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or did I cover it pretty well? You want to tend the microphone, please?
Let's put you on the spot.
Yeah, put you on the spot. Yeah. He's ready.
We packed about 200 of them for our church members. So you came to church and got money that day, a little backwards. But we also left about 300 of them blank that didn't have gift cards in them, and they were all gone as well. So it was pretty much close to about 500. And it wasn't just for the person to receive it. It was also for the person giving it, to experience that joy and being able to give something to somebody. And that's the best part is if you've ever paid it forward, scientifically, there's, psychologically, there's that feeling you get and keeps going on, then you want to pay it forward. So it was a thank you to the workers, but also to help church people and town people to experience that generosity. But that about covers it. And it's nice to meet you all.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Wel-
much.
and
Thank
welcome
you.
to Vincennes.
Thanks.
That's it.
All right, District 5.
All right. Hey, if you've noticed, anybody driving down Washington Avenue lately, making great progress down that way. So we're very, very grateful for everybody and their hard work down that way. And I'm sure the mayor might even have some more on that. But also, street department, big thank you. I know that they're out collecting leaves and doing things like that, keeping everything cleared out of the streets, and that's important as we get a little closer to winter here, all of those things. So, and again, a big thank you to the health department that continues to make sure that we are prepared to go forward and making sure our children are prepared to go forward as well.
All right. Councilman McNeese.
Well, Dan brings guests, so what do we do?
Yeah.
I know. He tops us because he's got the district that's got the most businesses in it. Now he's bringing guests. I mean, gee.
Well, I got a couple things. One, I want to echo the parade, and I also want to make note of the decision to postpone on Friday. I think that was a really good move, and I appreciate. We certainly made John Streeter's life a little easier at EMS. I think his stress level dropped a little bit, and so did our police, all of our first responders. Great parade, great event. Next, though, Officer Hillenbrand, Chief Hillenbrand handed out this. Did you see what's at the bottom? It is Shop with a Cop tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I don't know of a better event in our community. That's a really nice thing that it's done. And 185 kids from PACE Community Action Agency are going to be able to spend $215 per child. So that's incredible. Job well done. That's all I got.
All right, not to be a broken record, but I want a big shout out to our street department, police department, fire department for helping us out with the parade. Obviously, it kind of threw us for a loop when we had to kind of bump things, but that's Mother Nature for you. I tried to get some of the good vibes that Councilman Grove gets on every Monday where there's no weather issues for food trucks, but it didn't work out too well. This Friday is the City versus County Bell Bash. So we will be out at Walmart from 10 to 6, ringing bells, raising money for our local Salvation Army. We're big fans of it, and I would like to bring the bell back. It needs to come back home. It's been at the county for 2 years. They bedazzled it, which I think is terrible, so it needs to come home so we can take those bedazzled. We'll send a sign up out. So that'll be fun, raising money for our local Salvation Army, and it's events like that. We had the police and fire
Who won
do
that?
the Battle of the Badges. Do we know who won the Battle of the Badges?
I do.
You're not allowed to say?
Are you not allowed to say?
Not allowed to say yet?
This is the first year that the fire department beat the police department.
Oh, man.
Well done, both of you. Well done.
Is the true winner. That's how this works, right? And the real winner is the Salvation Army. So. So we'll be out having fun at Salvation Army this week, and it's those kind of events that we really are excited about. And with talking with some of the merchants already downtown and Grouseland, we're looking at December 2nd of next year to be the Christmas parade for next year. And that kind of puts it back on that first Friday weekend where it was before, where Grouseland, well, not before, there was a time period where it was at the same time with Grouseland, and Grouseland liked that, and the downtown merchants seemed to like that too. So that first Friday seems to be the date that they would like. So tentatively, that's where we'll be at. All right, Mayor, it's your
Okay.
turn.
Great parade, had a great Christmas in the park. Also, the Chris Kendall Market was Friday.
Thank
This
you
is
for
a new
bringing
event
that
Remember that one?
Thanks
that
for bringing that up.
Hopefully is going to grow from this year on.
Yep.
Downtown.
Even in the rain, they had a good turnout.
Yeah.
It
Well,
looked
they did.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Really cool.
Procopio's Market did the ribbon cutting last week. Good to have that downtown. And the chief and I had the opportunity to go to the Y with the Pacers, and they gave out a lot of toys to a lot of little children.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
a fun event, and just have the Pacers here, and it looks like they'll probably be back next year.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
And that's all I've got.
Mr. Mayor, wreaths across Knox County.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Across Knox County is this Saturday.
11 o'clock at the cemetery, and they have over 2,200 wreaths, and then there'll be a brief ceremony, and then they'll decorate veterans' graves. Goes pretty quick, it's a nice ceremony.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, if nothing else, just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
You got a school board
We
meeting
are
to go to.
adjourned.
Franklin. The gym. So the old part of the building, not the newer part, will be
Thank you.
tonight. It's official.